I just played Warframe for the first time, and I was really impressed. And that's despite the fact that I had quite high expectations going in, just because of its reputation. But it actually surpassed those expectations in multiple areas. So today I want to go over just what my first experience with the game was actually like, and tell you about the things that I thought were really cool, and give some feedback along the way as well. For context also, my first time playing it was on stream, so I streamed it for about 8 hours in one block. So I had chat kind of helping me out as I went along, which definitely helped my experience even more, especially because the Warframe community is just so nice. So we'll use clips from that stream throughout this video. That's what you'll be watching. And also, if you haven't played the game yet and you like the sound of what I say in this video and you want to play it for yourself, give it a try, it is free. You can sign up via the link that I've got in the description. Thank you, Digital Extremes. And if you sign up via that link, you'll get like some free goodies in game. You'll get a katana skin, and some other bits and pieces, but it's only available for a limited time. So what I recommend you do is you click that link now and you start signing up like in another tab while you watch this video, and then you get the best of both worlds. So without further ado, let's talk Warframe. So it makes sense to start at the beginning with the tutorial, and this was a really neat experience. And I was very skeptical. I'm going to be completely honest. I was skeptical of what they'd be able to achieve with a tutorial for a game this broad and this deep as well, because other games that I've played that have systems like Warframe have really struggled in the tutorial department to keep it streamlined and to onboard new players in a way that feels like it's not overwhelming them, but it's also giving them exactly what they need to know. And I think Warframe did a really good job of that, because it starts off with this cutscene, which is a really awesome cutscene, but you can kind of tell in the cutscene that you're about to be able to play as one of the characters in the cutscene. Like, you see all of these frames doing all this cool stuff, and then it's like, okay, which one do you want to be? And so you've already kind of got a feel for, oh, this character or this frame is going to behave in a certain way and is going to have certain abilities. And then you get to the picking a character screen or a frame screen, and you're like, I kind of already have their vibe. Like, before I even have to read a load of text, it's shown me instead of telling me, you know what I mean? Which is just so good. So you get a choice between 3 frames, Excalibur, Mag, and Vault. I chose Mag, and I figured that would be kind of a less popular choice, potentially. It seemed like Excalibur and Vault might be the go-tos for a lot of people, but I chose Mag because I wanted to sort of mix it up a little bit, and I was really happy with my choice. And the game then immediately starts walking you through the basics, but in a way that didn't completely fry my brain, which was really good. So I got some movement basics explained. I had a little bit of time to play with some of the abilities and stuff. Now, this is one area that I think the game could maybe do slightly better. My impression of the abilities part of the tutorial was that I think I unlocked one of the abilities maybe, and then actually also unlocked all the other abilities, but I didn't realize it because my energy was too low. And so I tried using an ability at one point and I couldn't use it. And I didn't realize, because I was new to the game, I just didn't realize that I was out of energy and I needed to refresh it before I could use the ability. But I mistakenly then assumed I just hadn't unlocked it. So I didn't use my other abilities for like a little while because I just thought I was waiting to unlock them. So I almost wonder if in that first mission, it would be good to have just like one little knowledge check where it's like, okay, use all of your abilities in succession here to progress. Like, that might be a good way to just sort of ensure that the player has onboarded that lesson. But I will say, it didn't actually matter that I didn't know that I had all of my abilities, because the movement in the game is so fun. I was just busy having fun with that. And I honestly think that's why I didn't notice that the game was telling me that I'd unlocked all the abilities, because it does tell you that. I was just too carried away with the fact that the movement is insane. Like, it's actually crazy. You start off and you're just sprinting, and it's all chill and it's all fine. And then you're like, oh, I can sprint, and then I can bullet jump, where you're sprinting and then you bullet forwards. And then you learn, oh, I can bullet jump, and then I can do that in different directions. So you practice bullet jumping upwards. You practice bullet jumping diagonally. You start getting a feel for, oh, okay, this completely changes the movement sandbox. Then you realize, oh, okay, I can sprint into a slide, into a bullet jump, and then I can hit double tap on my control key to go into a roll, and I can roll out of the bullet jump, and then I can slide again, and I can chain that together. And it means that you're in fast mode 24/7, and it's glorious. It's so nice. And the tutorial does give you opportunities to learn all of this stuff. It doesn't specifically say, okay, now you have to combo it all together or you lose, but it presents it to you in a way that wasn't overwhelming for me, while also giving me the knowledge to say, yes, these are features in this game that you can use. There were also 1 or 2 moments where the game initially said something to me that I was a bit sort of surprised by. Like, for instance, the melee with my sword, that was on E by default as the keybind. I was like, oh, that's an unusual keybind to have for my sword. Like, don't I just want to, like, press my, like, 1 or 2 or 3 key to switch weapon to my melee weapon and then start left-clicking to swing my sword? But I then realized, oh, part of the reason for this is that sword swing is also something that I might use if I'm in the air, for instance, to dive down and slam onto a group of enemies with a big sort of sword slash. And so once I started to learn more about the game, I was like, oh, you know what? That actually makes total sense. And I just need to kind of get used to how Warframe works here, which was really cool, actually, because I went from being like, wait, what? To being like, oh, brain expansion. I see the vision now, which I really enjoyed. And I think that it helps set Warframe apart from other games where it's like, okay, I can see the Warframe DNA kind of showing itself here. Now, as the tutorial went on, I started to not really even feel like it was sort of heavily tutorial, which was quite nice. I started going through a couple of different missions and I was like, okay, this just feels like early campaign. Cool, that works for me. That's actually great, as opposed to feeling like I'm being really over-guided. But then it got to the mission, the teacher, where I'm learning about the mods system especially. And this was so good because I suspect the mod system is the thing that most new players would bounce off if there wasn't a good system in place to explain how it worked, because mods in games like this are just complex. They are complex systems. There's a lot of intricacy to them, but I was impressed with the teacher mission because it allowed me to dabble with the mod system a little bit, not in a way that was super overwhelming, but just in a way that made me sort of go, oh, okay, I can do this. Let me just try that just in the smallest possible way, test it out a little bit, use it a little bit against some enemies, and then let me go back to that mods bench and do a little bit more and dabble with it a little bit further. Now, there were 1 or 2 things that were the teeniest bit confusing to me, but I would expect that in a scenario like this. Like, I'd always think that a system like that would take some getting used to. One thing that happened was I was interacting with the sort of mods bench, and then I backed out of it midway through the tutorial flow. And then when I went back into the mods bench, it was kind of confused about where I was in the flow. And so it kept a prompt on screen for me to do something, even though I'd already done it. So it sort of stopped guiding me at that point. And I just had to sort of click through with chat and figure out what it wanted me to do. And so, like, even the game is like, listen, these mod systems are complex, man. Like, they take some work to make them work, right? But still, for a tutorial to an incredibly complex and deep game, I thought that it did a really brilliant job. And I mean, I played the 8 hours and I was like, I want to play more. Like, I definitely want to play more right now. And had the tutorial sucked, I'd probably have been sitting there being like, this is just rough. Like, I don't know how the game works and it's not telling me and I hate this, right? I didn't get that feeling whatsoever. Now, another thing that I was pretty impressed by was the performance. So obviously this is a game that initially launched like over a decade ago now. It's been a long time. And I wasn't sure if that would mean that it wouldn't look very nice visually and graphically. I also wasn't sure what the performance would be like if I really cranked the settings up, like if they'd done updates recently to mean that those settings would still be really intensive on my PC. But I'm happy to report that performance was really solid for me. I whacked on DLSS, and it looked really nice. I think sometimes DLSS in games can look a little ugly, but it didn't look ugly here. I thought it looked absolutely fine. All my edges were sharp. It looked great. And I was at smooth 120 FPS on max settings the entire time. And I'm running a 3090. So again, I'd expect my system to be able to handle it, but if it wasn't optimized well, then it would definitely have been dropping frames in places, as I experienced with other games. And I'm single PC setup as well, so I had the demand of both my YouTube and my Twitch stream and the game, and it still handled it like a champ the entire time. So that was really great to see. And graphically and visually, I think it looks really nice. I think that there are some areas that I walked into where I was like, okay, this lighting this is pretty nice right now. The music as well, actually, just while I'm on this topic, was really fantastic. I really thought the music was awesome. I played a little bit of Warframe music to kind of kick off the stream and hype myself up a little bit, just based on chat recommendation. And it was amazing. Like, there were some absolute bangers in there. I can't wait to experience those in gameplay So far, I've only had tutorial missions to go off, obviously, but seems like Digital Extremes really know how to cook music as well. That's my first impression. We'll see if that continues, but yeah, so far so good. Now that brings me on to the amount of content in the game, because like I said, it's a game that initially launched many years ago, and this one's an interesting one, because I can't really speak to the true amount of content in there, because I'm new, right? I haven't seen beyond the tutorial. Like, I've only got up to finishing the teacher quest, so I don't know what the full extent of the content is like, but I did at one point go to the, like, Earth map, which has a bunch of missions on it. And then my chat was like, oh, by the way, scroll out. And I scrolled out and I was like, oh, damn. There's not just Earth, but there's this entire system of different planets with different mission sets on them. And I don't know if that's a campaign per planet or like, I have no idea how it works yet, but it seems like there is a ton there. Chat informed me that there is no content vaulting, sunsetting situation with this game. So there is all of the content, basically, in the game still, so it's all present, which is fantastic to see. And so the only thing that I'm sort of unsure of, I suppose, is what the mid-game and then end-game is going to be like. Like, I assume that the mid-game is going to be a lot of trying to grind through different missions to unlock different frames. But then endgame, I actually have no idea right now. I just can't speak to it. I'm not sure if this game has any sort of raid-like activities or things along those lines. I'm a big fan of those sorts of puzzles, especially. Not sure at this stage, but I'm crossing my fingers that there'll be something like that to scratch that kind of itch, but we'll have to find out. We'll have to stream it some more. And as often ends up being the case in games like this, any sort of action RPG or what have you, one thing that I expect will also be part of the end game is fashion. It's just always the way these things go. And I had a pretty deep look at the store and the cosmetics and stuff like that, and I was talking to chat about their impressions of that sort of side of the game as well, and it seems really positive to me. I think the store overall is something that the community really likes. It seems like they do quite a lot of like fundraisers where they'll do things like charity drives to combat cancer and stuff like that, and part of that ends up working its way into the game with the community sort of unlocking cosmetics by doing these charity drives. There's also community-made content in the store. So an artist could make something and then submit it, I guess, for approval. And then if it gets approved, anytime someone buys it, I think that the artist gets a cut of the proceeds from selling it in the game, in the store, which is amazing. Like, that's so cool. I think that's something I first saw happening with TF2 years and years and years ago. And to see that model being applied in Warframe is amazing, not only because of the fact that it means that they're supporting these artists who are contributing to the ecosystem, but it also means that there's a ton of content in the store. Like, you look at the dev-made chunk of stuff, and then you look at the extent of the community-made things, and there's a lot of extra stuff there that wouldn't be there if Digital Extremes were more stingy and had more of a walled garden, so to speak, but they don't, and they are very generous, it seems like, with that side of things. And then when you're actually buying those sorts of things as well, and when you're looking at even just like the color variations that you can select, you might have a given piece of your kit. You can select not just one set of colors, and that's it, like a fixed set, but you can customize within a really broad range of colors on the kind of shadery type color sets that you apply, and that's awesome. Like, the fact that they give you that much customization potential, even from the very beginning of the game, is really cool. So again, it's early days, but seemed promising in that regard. Now, obviously, I couldn't do any of that stuff without talking to my chat about their thoughts on all of it too. And so I think it's worth just talking about the community for a second. The Warframe community seems so lovely. Like, I was warned, and that's in big bunny quotes, right? Big air quotes. Warned that the Warframe community might be one of the nicest communities in gaming. I was warned, and so far, so good. I was really pleasantly surprised. It's not that I was expecting there to be any problems, but I've tried games like this before. I've tried getting into new game communities before, and sometimes people get very angry if you don't play the game the way they play it, or if you're taking a long time to get used to something or what have you, or there's just a general feeling of some challenge, I think, sometimes to integrate into a fresh game community, especially as a creator like myself, where I've got a big audience elsewhere, and then I'm completely entering this new turf with Warframe. But I mean, the community were so welcoming during that stream. They were so lovely. There was so much support, and on other platforms as well. On Twitter, like the fact that like Reb Ford is replying to my tweet, like, what's happening? Like, that's so cool. So like, not only is there a lot of clear love and support from the dev side of things, but then also just the folks in the chat helping me out, giving me advice, being patient with me. It was so lovely and enabled me to play the game in the way that felt natural to me in the moment, which was really important. And that actually led to one of the coolest things in that first stream that could have possibly happened. I noticed something on the wall, right? And I'm like a big puzzles guy. I'm a big secrets guy. I'm a big Easter eggs guy. I love that stuff, right? And if you've watched my content for a long time, you'll know that. I saw something on the wall and I instantly was like, that looks like a cipher to me. That looks like a real language that I could translate if I spent a couple of minutes on it. And chat was like, what's happening here? And I was like, chat, do I indulge in not playing the game for a little bit, but instead doing something that is game adjacent and trying to crack what I believe is a cipher? It kind of looked like almost a Pigpen cipher to me. So I was like, I think I can do this. I think I have the skills to crack this thing. And chat was like, you do what your heart desires. That happened even when I was picking my frame at the beginning, and it nearly made me cry, bro. I was actually like so overwhelmed where I was like, chat, do I pick Excalibur or Volt or Mag? Like, what do I do? And the entire chat was just like, do what your heart says you should do. I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Like, normally it's just like, you have to pick this, you have to pick this. The beginner one has to be this, otherwise you have a terrible time. Pick this, pick this. No, they were just like, your heart is calling out to you, Milo. Answer the call. I was like, ah. So they did the same thing when I saw this thing on the wall, and I then spent 2 hours cracking it, and we deciphered the entire Grineer language on stream in my first ever Warframe stream, and it was absolute pure cinema. It was so much fun, and it just goes to show that this game has secrets and attention to detail and love from the devs that could easily be something they didn't bother with, because is that going to sell more copies of the game? No. Do you ever see an advert on the side of a bus, an advert on a billboard, an advert on a commercial on TV, and they're like, play Warframe, because you can spend 2 hours and 45 minutes in one of the tutorial missions decoding an alien language with no upside to yourself other than furthering your knowledge of the Grineers and learning that they can't spell and they're a bit dumb. Do you ever see ads like that? No, you don't, right? And yet it is still there. And that to me is one of the best signs a game can ever have. If I can start the game and I can see the love from the devs, and I can see that speaking to me, I'm in. I'm actually sold. I'm a customer for life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a player for life. I'm there. Put me in that next update. I'm hitting it with all my might. You know what I mean? Like, we're streaming the whole thing. Like, it's just so important to me. And I've played a lot of games over the years where they become a lot more of a corporate exercise in making money and hitting targets in a fiscal year and whatever. And I just had the opposite impression with Warframe, that what their goal is fun and honoring the love the community has for the game and doing right by them. That's what it seems to come down to. Now, it's early, right? And like, this is a sponsored video, so who knows? Who knows in the future? But for a first impression, it was cinema. It was a really fantastic time. And the thing I'd like to hear from you guys is, would you like me to dive into this further in the future and do some playthroughs of some of the campaigns? Or like, what even should I do next? I feel like the world is at my fingertips with the Warframe franchise, the Warframe universe. And I would love your input on how I should approach it going forwards, and if you'd like to see some more Warframe from me on the channel, both on stream and in video form. So please let me know. Thank you, Digital Extremes, for welcoming me into the fold in the way that you have. So appreciated. And make sure also, if you haven't downloaded Warframe yet, you click that link in the description, and you use my sign-up bonus there to get yourself some free goodies in the game as well. They've also just put out the old peace update, so there's some new stuff in the game as of just weeks ago. So plenty of stuff to be getting stuck into. Click that link now, and maybe I'll see you in some more Warframe content in the future. All right, thanks, folks. Bye for now.